Evaluating whether a source is dependable and whether the information they provide is accurate is a critical stage in any investigation. This is the point where investigators move from simply collecting information to judging its evidentiary value. It requires a dual assessment: the credibility of the source and the accuracy of the information itself. First, the core distinction: honesty versus reliability. A key principle in investigative analysis is that honesty and reliability are not the same thing. Honesty refers to whether a person believes they are telling the truth. A witness may be completely sincere but still incorrect due to flawed perception or memory. Reliability, on the other hand, refers to whether the account accurately reflects what actually happened. A person can be honest yet unreliable if their recollection is distorted by stress, trauma, time delay, or cognitive limitations. Understanding this distinction prevents a common investigative error, assuming that sincerity automatically equals accuracy. Second, evaluating source dependability. Investigators assess the dependability of a source using several key factors. Ability to perceive the event. Was the witness in a position to see or hear what occurred clearly? Distance, lighting, noise, and obstructions all affect perception. Environmental and physical conditions. Was the setting conducive to accurate observation? For example, a noisy, crowded workspace may reduce the reliability of what was perceived. Physical limitations such as impaired vision or the influence of substances may also affect accuracy. Motive to falsify. Does the individual have a reason to distort the truth? This may include self-protection, fear of discipline, retaliation, or personal grievances. Bias and personal interest. Even without deliberate deception, a witness may be influenced by loyalty, conflict, or a stake in the outcome of the case. Affect and demeanor. While behavioral cues such as eye contact or fidgeting are not reliable indicators of truthfulness, investigators may still consider whether the emotional response is broadly consistent with the nature of the event. However, this must be interpreted cautiously and never treated as proof of deception. Third, assessing information accuracy. Even when a source is generally dependable, the information they provide must still be tested for accuracy. Inherent plausibility. Does the account make logical sense in light of known facts and common experience? The harmony test asks whether the story fits what a reasonable person would consider likely under the same conditions. Internal consistency. Does the witness maintain a stable narrative, or do key details shift within or across interviews? Minor inconsistencies are normal, but major contradictions reduce reliability. Level of detail. More precise, testable accounts are generally more reliable than vague or generalized statements. Specific descriptions can be checked against other evidence. External consistency, corroboration. The strongest indicator of accuracy is alignment with independent evidence such as emails, system logs, CCTV footage, or access records. When multiple independent sources converge, confidence in the account increases significantly. Fourth, the impact of trauma on accuracy. Modern investigative practice also recognizes that trauma can affect how memory is formed and recalled. Trauma may result in fragmented or nonlinear recall, where individuals remember sensory details such as sounds, images, or emotions without being able to present a clear chronological sequence. This does not necessarily indicate dishonesty. It reflects how memory encoding is affected under high stress. Investigators must be careful not to misinterpret disjointed recall as lack of credibility when it may instead reflect neurobiological responses to traumatic events. Fifth, risks and pitfalls in evaluation. Several risks can distort credibility assessments if not carefully managed. Over-reliance on demeanor. Behavior such as nervousness, avoidance of eye contact, or fidgeting is not a reliable indicator of deception and may reflect stress, culture, or personality differences. Investigator bias. Preconceptions or confirmation bias can lead investigators to interpret evidence in a way that supports an early theory rather than evaluating it objectively. Failure to resolve conflicting accounts. Accepting two opposing versions as equally valid is not sufficient in a professional investigation. Investigators are expected to assess credibility systematically and determine which account is more likely than not. Ultimately, the investigator's responsibility is not to assume neutrality between competing versions, but to apply structured reasoning to determine which source is more dependable and which account is more accurate based on the totality of evidence.